Thank you indeed, Deputy Sullivan. Just right on time. Deputy Clare Daly.
Thanks, Chair. I think there is something incredibly rotten around this situation. I think it has the propensity to put other CRC controversies into the shade. Overnight, unilaterally, without warning, a pension scheme shut down that loyal staff members had paid into all their working life. Subsequent to that decision, those staff members have been unable to meet the board of the CRC, who have no problem in going to a gala dinner in the Burlington tonight. It's absolutely reprehensible. Now, as other deputies have said, in 2011 the CRC plan, like other defined benefit schemes, didn't meet the minimum funding standard requirements. On the 24th of March 2014, the CRC's actuary Mercer declared that the funding proposal was on track to meet the minimum standard by next year. So the question we have to put to you, Minister, is if the CRC plan was on track in 2014, why was it closed down in such a hurry by the CRC board with effect from the 18th of May this year? What went wrong between March 2014 and May? Did Mercer give poor financial advice that has led to the scheme closing? Because contributions increased, there was a de-risking strategy put in place, and there are conflicts of interest at the heart of this. Mercers appear on all sides of the equation in this. They're providing administration, actuarial, consultancy advice to the CRC. Meanwhile, the so-called independent trustee of the plan is the Irish Pension Trust, which is owned by Mercers. It's an absolutely clear-cut case of a conflict of interest. And not only that, but what has completely been missed is how in God's name could a pension scheme, an integrated defined benefit pension scheme with a contribution rate of 35%, not be able to support the continuance of entitlements under the plan? It doesn't add up. The scheme has to be reinstated until such time as comprehensive investigations around this are held, and I would urge you, Minister, to secure that.
Now, I would like to thank the three deputies for the cooperation. Minister McGrath, you have 4 minutes to reply.
Thank you, Chair. First of all, I want to thank the three deputies concerned for raising this matter, which I am taking today on behalf of my colleague, Minister Simon Harris. The Central Immediate Clinic, the CRC, is funded by the Health Service Executive under Section 38 of the Health Act 2004. Therefore, the CRC is accountable in the first instance to the HSE in relation to pay and superannuation matters. The CRC employs in the region of 290 employees. About 45 of these employees are members of a private fund and pension plan, which is operated by the Trustees Irish Pensions Trust. It's important to explain at the outset that neither the Department of Health or the Department of Public Expenditure and Reform have any role or function in relation to the operation of this funded pension plan. The plan was established some decades ago by the CRC. The board of the CRC clinic, following an extraordinary meeting on the 17th of May, decided to cease contributions to the private pension plan. The CRC then issued notice of termination of the contributions to the Trustees Irish Pensions Trust Limited. The notice provided with effect from the 18th of May 2016, the CRC had terminated its liability to contribute to the plan. Neither Minister Harris nor the Department had any advance notification from the Central Immediate Clinic of its intention to cease contributions to this plan. The Department of Health was informed of the CRC decision on the 18th of May. It is regrettable that the CRC took a decision to cease contributions to the scheme without first consulting with the employees concerned and with the HSE. In fact, the Department had previously highlighted to the CRC that any proposals in relation to any pay or pension matter must first be submitted to the HSE. It was also explained to the CRC that the Department of Public Expenditure Reform sanction would be required for any CRC proposals. Following receipt of information from the CRC in relation to the wind-up of the scheme, the CRC was requested as a matter of urgency to prepare viable alternative proposals in conjunction with the HSE. The HSE also today has confirmed that it is still working with the CRC in order to find a viable solution in relation to the employees concerned, but as yet a detailed business case has not been submitted by the CRC. Minister Harris would like to give an assurance at this stage that once a detailed proposal is received by the Department, it will be examined as a matter of urgency. The proposals will then be considered in conjunction with the Department of Public Expenditure and Reform. The latter is responsible for the implementation of government policy in relation to public service pensions. Minister Harris and I would ask the CRC to work as quickly as possible with the HSE in order to resolve this situation, which has left the employees concerned in the most difficult situation. Thank you, Carla.
Thank you, Minister McGrath. Now I'm supposed to divide 2 minutes between the three of you, but I'm going to be nice about it and give you a minute each. So, Deputy Penrose.
Minister, what makes us all very suspicious is that the scheme has 28.5 million in assets and 30.5 million in liabilities, and that's a 2 million deficit. And that could be easily made up, and the speed of it. You're no doubt aware that some schemes may have fallen into deficit due to various oscillations in the equities or bond market, but these have all recovered. And what is perplexing is that no consultation with staff to allow them to evaluate the situation and consider whether they would seek further advice by hiring their own actuary, paid for by CRC, to examine the situation. Indeed, it's whether they might contemplate the scheme remaining in existence by opting when they take reduced benefits or increase their contributions, which they already had done, to try and maintain existing benefits. And it occurred within a couple of weeks from the receipt of the actuary report, and pursuant to the Pensions Act 1990, it seems to me that trustees would have approximately 9 months in which to submit a funding plan, and over a period of time a steer the scheme could be got back on track. And now with Section 38 funding, Minister, I think it's time that the trustees and the management of the CRC were called before the new Committee on Public Expenditure and Reform and the Public Accounts Committee to explain why they acted in such a fast fashion and why did the position, as Deputy Daly says, something that was assured was given on the 24th of March 2014, and then say that the whole pension scheme was on track, and then come on the 18th of May 2016 it collapses. Minister, I would ask you to reinstate the scheme as it was until those issues are addressed and investigated, as Deputy Daly says, pertaining to the wind up the scheme, including the roles of all the professionals involved and at all levels in respect to the operation of the scheme.
Deputy O'Sullivan.
Is were the employers' contributions paid through the HSE funding, and if so, well, that is public funding, and so there is an accountability issue there. I mean, I think CRC have shown their disdain for their employees and also their disdain for the relevant departments and the HSE. And we know that the employees feel very much abandoned and they feel crushed now on this mess that is not of their doing. They are the workers who had to face the public disappointment and the public disdain and disgust over the other controversies involving CRC, and this is what they're left with now. I believe the affected staff should get the full value for their pension, and I note what the Minister said, and it's being treated as a matter of urgency. But my question at the end of this is, how can anybody trust the CRC from their behaviour to date on this issue and on the other issues? And I would ask and look for your assurance that this is not going to go off the agenda now that the topical issue has been taken, and that there will be a time frame given to the CRC that they have to come back to you.
Thank you indeed, Deputy O'Sullivan. Deputy Daly.
The Minister says that it's regrettable that the CRC made this decision. I would call it bizarre, sinister and highly suspect. And it just doesn't add up. And if our concern is to have any meaning whatsoever, then the only instruction we should be issuing to the CRC now is to reinstate the scheme until comprehensive issues involving the decision to wind it up can be investigated, because it doesn't add up. If you look at this scheme, it was very well funded. A deficit of £2 million is very, very little. There were breaches of the Pension Act. The trustees could have had, and lawfully did have, 9 months to come up with an alternative funding plan. So why did we have a decision taken 18 days after the actuarial assessment? And there are serious question marks to be raised in terms of some of the assumptions applied by Mercers in relation to this scheme. The report which has been issued has been redacted in many parts that has been given to the staff, so we can't actually even have have an accurate assessment of the actuarial advice that is given. But they do seem to be bizarre behaviour, questionable behaviour, and I would strongly ask the Minister to intervene to hold people to account, not just to look at alternatives now, but to halt it and get it back to where it was and hold people to account.
Thank you. Now, I would like to thank the 3 deputies for cooperating with me under the new rules. I appreciate that. Minister, you have 2 minutes to reply.
Yeah, I just want to thank my 3 colleagues for their questions, and just to deal specifically with the individuals. First of all, in relation to Deputy Willie Primrose, about the fact that you got absolutely no acknowledgement. I accept that point. That was an absolute disgrace as far as I'm concerned, and I will follow up on this issue. In relation to Deputy Maureen O'Sullivan's point on good faith and the great service of the staff, and you also raised the accountability issue. These are issues that I have raised, and I will be talking about them again later on. Clare Daly mentioned the whole idea of shutting down on a very, very loyal workforce. I would be very familiar with the staff in the CRC, and I have made my views known to the chairperson of the board on many occasions. Even though it's not necessarily within my remit, I met some of the staff, I heard their case, and a lot of their views were expressed today in the chamber. But there are other issues as well, as far as I'm concerned, that the matter raises serious financial and corporate governance issues, and I have concerns about that. And it's important to know that the majority of the staff are unaffected. However, I am concerned about the 47 people, the individuals that it does impact on. Another question I'll be doing myself, and I've been doing in recent weeks, is questioning the level of monitoring on this matter. No contact with the HSE since the actuaries began review until yesterday. So what I'm doing is I'm demanding from both the HSE and the CRC as why there was no communication from either side during this period, and what level of monitoring was being carried out. All knew that the problem existed, and this is something. The other point I make out in relation to the CRC board is the CRC does not have unilateral authority to move employees to the single public service pension scheme, and this is a matter that must be discussed with the HSE. The pension scheme had a serious and escalating gap, but it is incredible that it could have been got to this point with so little information being passed to the HSE or to the Minister. So from my point of view, I want to see a speedy solution, and I'm asking the CRC to get on with the talks with the HSE on this matter, and I will be demanding a full report on both the outcome of any meetings and see how can we proceed in the best interest of both the taxpayers and the 47 people affected. Thank you.
Thank you indeed.